Welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm looking at something very exciting. Something pretty cool has landed at Model Minutes HQ. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 exciting bags of things. Join me in this video as I take a look inside these bags, find out what it is, and you'll probably already know what it is from the thumbnail and the title of the video. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. So today I'm looking at some extra special kits which have been sent to me free of charge by Budget Model Railways for the purpose of review. I am hoping to be doing something quite special with these, and then when they are completed I'll be sending them back. So make sure you stick around to find out what that is. So what I've got here are 4 3D printed kits. These are all Budget Model Railways' own design. They've developed them themselves. I think Douglas is the creative designer behind all of these, and to be brutally honest, he's done a fantastic job. I have had a quick look at them already, but without further ado, let's get inside and see what we've got. So I'm going to start with something a little bit simple to begin with, and this is the Tipler Wagon. And I'll make sure I'll add links to all of these on the website. So if you don't know what 3D printing is 3D is a method of making plastic parts, components, whatever you want, but it uses 3D printing. You get a plastic filament and it builds up in layers the part that you want. So if we take a look at this part, for example, which is the side part of the Tipler Wagon, you can see it's built up in lots of different layers. So as each layer is deposited, it sticks to the previous one and allows the next one to go on top, and you can get lots of different variations. What I really like about these is you've got printed details. If I say moulded at any point, I don't mean moulded, I mean printed, because there's no moulding involved in this. These have all been manufactured by Budget Model Railways. If I'm brutally honest, I'm not even going to beat around the bush here. These are absolutely fantastic for 3D printed kits. So this is the Tipler Wagon, and what you get is a base plate. The base plate sticks onto a normal Hornby short wheelbase wagon, and then the frame builds up, and it's just a box. It's just a very simple box. You just build it up as you go into a nice simple box. I'll be doing a build and painting and review video on this at some point, but for the sake of this video, just giving you an idea, you get another little floor that goes in there. Now inherently with 3D printing you're going to get little bits of plastic which want to sort of flick off, or you get little bits which haven't quite moulded properly, printed properly. So here for example you've got some rough edges, and all you'll need to do is sand them down. Same in here. If you don't like this texture in here, all you need to do is sand it down. I particularly like that they've moulded on a ladder on the back of the Tipler Wagon there. So make sure you stay tuned to see me build this one and paint it all up. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with it, but I've been told to go completely nuts and do what I want. So let's look at something else. Now the whole reason Budget Model Railways came up with their own 3D printed line of wagon and locomotive body kits was that they weren't particularly happy with the stuff you can get either new or second hand. It wasn't necessarily cheap enough, it wasn't to the sort of right detail or specification, and they are big fans of doing sort of micro layouts, and you can't really get short wheelbase coaches that they wanted for cheap enough. But now for example, this Tipler Wagon that I've just looked at costs currently on their website £5. The coach, this body kit, costs £5. Yes, you do have to provide your own chassis, but you can get them fairly cheap. So for a couple of pounds for a cheap chassis, maybe something second hand, the bodywork's broken on it, you can just stick that on there and you have your own train rake of rolling stock, and you can make it however you want it. So this falls within their mantra of trying to produce model railway items at a cheap and cost-effective price. So here the coach, again, just like the Tipler Wagon, it just sticks straight onto a short wheelbase chassis from a wagon or something like that. And this is the internal part, and you can see there's tables and chairs. Like I said, from the 3D printing you've got a bit of these strings left over which will need sanding down or clearing away, So what I love about this is that for the £5 that you're paying, you're getting a internal detail part as well for the chairs and seats, which even Hornby in their small wheelbase wagon, not wagon coach, doesn't do. So that is brilliant value for money in my opinion. And just like the Tipler Wagon, this builds up as a box and it goes together really well. There are going to be little bits in places which you're going to need to sand off, especially again if you don't like the sort of printing on the top, like here for example. A byproduct of the printing is that you're going to end up with these ridges because it's quite hard to get a nice smooth rounded curve when you're printing in straight lines. But that should not be too hard to do. We've got some nice little details on the roof and we've even got door handles. There's no glazing, but it would be so easy to just stick some clear plastic onto the inside, you know, from your bag or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't use the bag because it's a bit dented, but you could do it so easily. And you could paint this all before you assemble it and stick it onto your chassis. So that is the short wheelbase coach, and it's got some lovely sort of planking detail on the end. And another good thing about these designs is that the way they've designed them, they're sort of modular, so that you can get different ones. So they use the same ends, but you can get like a brake coach rather than just a standard coach. So take a look on their website to see the different kinds that you get. So those are the two bits of rolling stock that I have received. So I'll just put that back in the bag. And the next couple of things I've got are locomotives. So I'm going to look at the Tram Locomotive first. These locomotives are all designed to fit onto the 040 Hornby chassis, and I'm pretty sure you can get them new on the Hornby website for quite cheap. But you can get them probably even cheaper second hand, as long as they work, of course. Maybe you'll get one which has got a damaged body and you just feel like you fancy changing out the chassis. So the body of this one, so a lot of you probably in the comments are going to go, oh, it looks a lot like what's the one from Thomas the Tank Engine, Toby the tram engine from Thomas the Tank Engine. And yes, it does. I think that was based on a real locomotive, and so is this. It's based upon one of those tram locomotives, and you can paint this however you want. It's got the side plates here, which are quite nicely moulded. We've got steps on the side. Again, a byproduct of the moulding is that you've got these sort of little joins here which will need to be broken. The lettering here, BMR, Budget Model Railways, is not so good on this one. It's a little bit better on that one, but it's still okay. You could sand that down, you could tidy it up, it's up to you. I mean, you're paying £15 for this one, and it looks really good in my opinion. Here, again, you're just going to need to tidy that up a little bit. The ends looks like there's a representation of a lamp, and you've also got your buffer holes, and then this gap here is where your chassis would poke the coupling through, so you could connect it to other wagons and coaches. This is the chassis floor and the roof. Again, similar to the coach, you're going to have maybe need to sand that down just to get rid of the lumpy bumpy surface, but we've got a little chimney there. And then here we've got, these are the buffers, and they're nicely moulded. And you might think to yourself, why have I got 5? Because there's only 4 buffers that are needed. They've given you a spare one, just in case you manage to break one or it hasn't quite printed properly, then you've got a spare one. And then the last thing to look at here is the continuation of the cow catcher. So on the front here, you've got the cow catcher, and if you have a chassis with a coupling hook, it will obviously protrude from there. But if you want to put your cow catcher in and have it as a sort of standalone locomotive, then you can, and it fits in really well actually. I probably won't be using them because I'll see about getting it on a chassis, but that's a really nice and thoughtful inclusion. So let's get that one back in the bag. And now the last kit that I've been sent for review is the diesel shunter. So this one has a lot more going on. It's got a lot more bits. We've got the main chassis, and you might be able to notice that this chassis actually comes with little holes in it, which these parts locate into. So that's like the front there, and you can see you've got lamp holes here. So I think those sort of technically minded amongst you could even potentially drill those out and put LEDs in. It's just an idea. I haven't tried it myself, and that should slot in there again. So it slots in one. The other one will need a little bit of tidying up and cleaning up just to get it to fit properly. But what is good about this one again is that it's modular. So as you can see, you've got a number of pieces which are the same and a number of pieces which are slightly different, had a bit of variation. So we've got the roof, we've got the sort of front and side panels, and they are all to a very, very similar standard. As with the other kits, you've got the marcation from where it's been printed, you see in the background of the piece there, and you've got some areas here, a little bit of appeal there, but some areas that will need sanding down, cleaning up. You might find you need a little bit of putty when you come to build this. So we've got the roof, one of the end roofs here, and they've got moulded on sort of exhausts as well. They are really nice. I've been told that a normal sort of poly cement or super glue will work perfectly fine. We've got separate steps, which is a great addition to see. I mean, even some of the other kits, even some of the ready to run locomotives don't get separately fitted items. And again, 5 buffers. Again, modular. So this could be used on any of the other locomotive kits. And that's it. I've got 4 kits from Budget Model Railways, which I'm going to be doing, hopefully, something quite special with. They've told me to go completely nuts with the paint scheme, do whatever I want with it. So I've got a few ideas. If you've got an idea, maybe put it down in the comments below. But I might end up going in a certain direction with it. And maybe I could find a suitable chassis on which to display it. I'll have a look in the local model shops, see if they've got anything cheap. Failing that, you could have a look on the Hornby website and see if they have got any there. So, what are my thoughts and feelings of these very interesting little kits? Well, seeing as the locomotive bodies cost £15 each, and the rolling stock bodies cost £5 each, I think they're absolutely great value. You'd struggle to find other kits for your model railway which are of such a low price, and the fact that Mike and Douglas do this completely by themselves. They 3D print everything, they manage the website, they dispatch your orders, they design the kits themselves, they do everything by themselves. I think the fact that they can manage to keep the costs low for everybody else while still managing to produce these kits is absolutely fantastic. Not only do they produce 00 gauge, but they're also in 009 and N gauge, and I think they're expanding the range. They're always looking at designing new stuff, so make sure you check out the website if you're interested in getting anything or are interested in anything else they might do. I think this is a really good way of having something a little bit different running on your layout, and it could even be a good way of practicing your modelling skills. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these kits. I'd like to extend my thanks to Budget Model Railways for sending them out to me free of charge. I'd also like to extend my thanks to my patrons who, without their support, I wouldn't be able to continue to create videos on this channel. So a massive thank you to you. If you'd like to find out more about patronage and the perks it gets you, take a look at the link in the description. All that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.